We're going on one toward freedom, true, permanent freedom. That is what God's will is for us. Understand it. You got to know what God's will is. It's written in Scripture. Look it up. The captives must and will be set free. That is the will of God. And if you're set free, you will be free indeed if He sets you free. And what I mean is absolute, total, utter freedom, universal. It has to be for everybody in your family, and that consists of the entire planet. Okay, everybody needs to be set free. And if you're not financially free, you understand money was invented, it was created by evil people to dupe them, to cheat them, to trick them, to steal from them. That's the only reason it was invented. Yes, you've heard that it was invented to facilitate exchange, and look at how useful it is, and look how we all love money, and it works pretty good all in all. No, look at the horrors through the ages it has caused us. It is the prime motivator for so much of the evil. All of it, like Jesus said, it's the root of all the evil. So you get this handful of really super uber wealthy people you never even hear about on the mainstream media because they don't want you talking about them. Remember, they don't want your focus on them as being the root causers, led by demonic forces, dark, evil forces that are rebellious against God and love and good and justice and mercy and all that is right and proper, righteousness, to be the rule of the day on earth. Freedom for all of us. I won't be happy until I reach that state. I know I won't. God knows I can't be. You won't be. Not if you value your conscience. If you value your soul, you can't. Because it's like Jesus said. He said, if you get it, what you're going to do is you're going to hate your life in this world because of all the rampant injustice. It's ubiquitous. It's rife. Okay? It's just, it's the way we've been going, the wrong direction. I mean, thousands of years. I mean, there was a time in history when Jesus walked the earth and people were pretty blown away, but there was powerful evil forces that usurped and hijacked that, true religion, which was pure, because Jesus scoffed at being labeled a religionist. They wanted to pigeonhole him, stereotype him, and they couldn't do it. But these were the same people that were running the show. They were the religious authorities of the law, this sort of thing. They worked hand in glove. They colluded together to be authoritarian. It's like communism today. What they call communism, you think of as socialism or something, or egalitarianism. It isn't at all. I mean, these are a rabid authoritarian, totalitarian. Look at China. I mean, I'm just saying. That's completely antithetical to the American spirit of freedom and justice. I mean, we got it so good in this country, and we've got to hang on to it because we keep losing our freedom. And how are they doing it? Through currency debasement. It's that simple. Through cost of living tax, inflation. Do you understand? It automatically debases your currency. This is how they keep you enslaved. They keep you down. Okay, now it's become a pipe dream to become a middle-class homeowner in California. Virtually, you got to pull a rabbit out of the hat these days. You got to be really tricky. And then you're going to pay through the nose the rest of your life. The prices you pay for houses here, I mean, for a piece of junk house in the right location, you're going to pay a fortune. And your property taxes are going to be a fortune. And California led the way, through deceit and trickery in the real estate business to cause these problems with this Jarvis Act, Proposition 13, back in the early 1970s. Insulating the existing homeowners so they went along with the market manipulation plan, the price rigging, special interest groups, colluding plan to raise housing costs. Of course, if they figure they're going to profit, they get in at the bottom, ground level, right? Yeah. So, I mean, this is what's happened here. People love money more than they love other people. And they don't understand that they're cutting their own throat. They're nearsighted. Okay. They're short-sighted. They don't understand. They're not thinking ahead 10 generations of where this thing would lead. If housing prices keep going up, so your housing dollar keeps deflating, keeps being debased, how can that lead to a good place, especially when wages have been falling below? I mean, the Labor Department has been obviously deliberately remiss, so just not profoundly remiss, at giving proportional, equivalent, commensurate cost of living adjustments to the workers, okay? so that you don't have slaves. That's why you have laws, you minimum wage laws, right? Because you have unscrupulous masters or employers today that would take advantage and say, well, I'll pay him whatever I want. I mean, the kid's got an IQ of 100 if he's lucky, and I could take advantage of him. So that's what it's there to prevent. You understand? Immorality in the workplace, so we don't have slavery. But if they're utterly and profoundly and deliberately remiss, okay, then you've got these problems. See, it would have acted as a check and balance because employers would have rightfully complained. What do you mean by law? I got to give my employees a raise? And then we would have focused on who's causing the problems, who's at the head of this thing. Remember who the trillionaire class that are causing the problem. A tiny minority are steering things. We call it a democracy. We call it a republic. It's bull. Okay, it's a trillionocracy or something. I don't know what to say to you, but remember, then you get a tight knit group of powerful sycophants, the politicos, okay, and other banking interests, and then others just fall in line, kind of just go along with the flow, go along, get the contractors, they hush hush, because they're making more. Everybody's making more. The real estate agents are making more. Am I right? Because they work on a percentage, a commission, right? So you get all these colluding special interest groups to manipulate markets, so, but this Jarvis Act, I digress, but that was basically to insulate the owners so they couldn't get the tax assessor, couldn't come around and say, hey, look, your neighborhood, there's the houses are $500,000 now and you paid $10,000, literally. You paid $10,000 back in the early 70s, late 60s or something. And literally, I mean, that's what the price is. Even in Santa Cruz, my parents bought a house in '65 for $8,000. Just beautiful neighbor, just nice suburban neighborhood in Santa Cruz. At that time, it was like just a retirement community. I mean, there was fishing, and it was great to be there. City by the bay, and it was kind of a bedroom town, really. Back then, I remember as a child. But so you're going to pay minimum. I mean, a lot of places, the prices are even higher than that. But could you imagine your taxes? You've been paying a nominal tax by today's standard, $10,000, 1%, or even 1.5%. Because it's seldom, you don't hear of property taxes going much. I mean, people just will vote for some, but not all, too much. I mean, if they get a choice. That's why regulation is good. That's why you like your utility companies to be regulated. Well, what's so far-fetched about having the other essential human needs regulated, right? I mean, if you've got unscrupulous people, that's the whole idea of regulating the wages. Do you understand how this thing works? So focus on who's causing the problems, who wants the chaos, the division, the class war, the loss of the middle class, taking away their hope. It's just give up. You're just going to be a rent slave for the rest of your life. And then when you're too old to do the amount of work you do, then now to survive and pay your rent, crack that nut and reach that bar, you'll have to depend on welfare. But of course, we know there's no welfare left. That's why you see all these people living out on the streets. I mean, this is life and death. You understand? These people are murderous. They don't care. Do you understand? They want people dead. They want them to die off of attrition. Any way they can, wars, whatever they have to do to lower the population because they think they're the good guys. They're delusional, okay? They themselves are deceived. They're under the spell of Satan and evil, even though they don't know it. But this is what's going on here. There are some bad actors in charge, okay? And we're in a lot of trouble, because there's people that hate you. If you stand for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, if you stand for freedom and prosperity, because you know that's the path to total freedom, okay, is universal prosperity. We've got to get out from under the thumb of the money-loving class, these trillionaires, and their sycophants that are they create the policies we all have to live under. But they're, of course, exempt from because they can give themselves raises at will. They don't care. Take as much as you want, man. You're on the insider club. I mean, that's who's still running the world today. You see how we need God? This is frightening to think, how could that be that this tiny critical mass is running the show? But we've got to remind ourselves of, remind your neighbor. I mean, I don't promote my videos. I don't even click share on Google, okay? I don't know what's going on with YouTube today. I really don't. I mean, for all I know, I'm banned if I talk about Alex Jones or say anything. I mean, That's what you hear, these rumors out there. I mean, but these guys that are getting banned, they have big names. I mean, we're all Alex Jones now. Okay, that's it. Look, this is America, for God's sake. Please, I mean, in the name of God, please, Google, YouTube, please. Okay, look, follow your conscience, man. I mean, you could have billions and trillions, whatever, and if you die and lose your soul, okay, that money's not going to help you. We don't want to go that way. We need free speech, man. If we start repressing the American people, we're just going to have more and more problems, more and more explosive tendencies of the people. Okay, we don't want that. We want people to be polite, well-mannered, yes. Okay, but we need our First Amendment. We need our First Amendment. People have to be allowed to make fools of themselves. And I make a fool of myself, I know. I probably am not particularly coherent all the time. But if I'm the guy out there, look, if I see you driving down the road, okay, I don't care if you're friend or foe, I'm going to do the same thing or somewhere in between. I'm going to get out there and get your attention if I can. If I see you look in a mirror and you're driving your car into a tree, I'm going to go out there and get your attention. If I got to make a fool out of myself and flail my arms around, okay, I'm going to do it. Okay, and that's what guys like Alex Jones do. I mean, he makes an ass out of himself and he humiliates himself. And he admits he's obnoxious, that he finds himself unlistenable. So he derides himself. And you got to give a man credit for that. Okay, and I still get on his case, and he needs to keep on his case, but he needs to let go and let God. Okay, because sometimes, I mean, there's no other solution. It's just through prayer. Just say, God, you know what? Humiliate me as long as you need to, but, let me learn the lesson I have to learn. I've got that lesson to learn. Okay, I mean, look, sometimes to get humility, which is like a prized value of character, okay, you got to get humiliated. It's that simple. Look at Trump. Trump gets humiliated all the time. They're always jumping down his throat. The least little faux pas, and Trump's toast. They make Trump toast out of him and overcook it on purpose. But you understand what's going on here is the devil is in the details. Literally, the spirit of the air I was talking about last week. It's ubiquitous. And it hates anybody that hungers for righteousness, to be the rule of the day on the earth, justice and peace, contentment, freedom. Okay? Everything good that you want, that we all want, really. Okay? Understand that you're hated. You're a friend of God, you're a friend of humanity, but you're hated by those on the other side of this thing. That's the only way they stay in the positions of power that they have, okay, which, normal people wouldn't want anyhow. I'm already too rich, okay? I worry too much about what I already have. Really, literally. I mean, I've got a lot more than a lot of people. We know there's a lot of drug addicts and desperate people out there and who break into your house and take your stuff. I mean, you even hear stories of the homeless. I talk to these people sometimes, and you hear stories where they steal from each other. And the flip side is they can be the most generous people on earth. I see these people sharing with somebody they like, a friend they meet. Sometimes it's a short friendship because they are transient. They're trying to find their right spot. So they're, out there moving from place to place. That's true. But they can be very generous, when they've got nothing. They're making what they have from begging, and maybe they get a little bit of Social Security somehow, some basic amount, because there is, I think, a basic, very low figure. It's probably like $400, $500 or something, I think. But I think if you're indigent, I think that is available. But they got nothing, and they could be very generous, but they can also steal from each other. But it's, this human nature is really sordid. We're really a perverted beast. I mean, these things that we value above human beings, our brothers and sisters, our own family. Okay, money is a prime example. It's the root of all of our problems. Okay, this is it, man. If we don't understand that, we've got to really take the bull by the horns and really admit, cut to the chase, and say this is the problem, and we have to somehow get ourselves off the money in order to be free. That's it, man. How do you do it? Through prosperity, through whatever the opposite of currency debasement is. So it has to be related to currency, to cost of living tax deflation. Okay, right? We know that our cost of living tax must go down, since the Labor Department sure is not going to give you a commensurate increase in wages, okay, which would have prevented this whole thing. There's many ways to skin a cat to solve a problem. Many. You could do a basic income. Trump's talking about, doing things with tariffs and jobs and higher pay and all this. Hey, look, every little bit helps. I'm not saying it. I guess you could do a combination of different things to solve the problems. But remember, Trump is trying to turn the ship. He's got hyenas nipping at his heels constantly and trying to grapple the helm away from him.